best way to get Donald Trump to do a thing is tell him not to. He's almost like a teenager in that way. The best way to get your kids to do a thing is tell them not to do it. And he's very similar to that. We'll keep this Trump train rolling. The judge fines Donald Trump $5,000 after post maligning court staffer is found on campaign website. Former President Donald Trump was fined $5,000 on Friday after his disparaging social media post about a key court staffer in his New York civil fraud trial, lingering on his campaign website for weeks after the judge ordered it deleted. So a judge tells you what to do and you don't do it, they fine you. That sounds about right. Sounds like law and order. If only one side of the political spectrum claimed to be the law and order party, they would respect this. I bet they don't like this. I bet they're very unhappy with this. I think they're threatening to throw him in jail too. Judge Arthur Engeron avoided holding Trump in contempt for now, but reserved the right to do so. He possibly even put the 24 Republican frontrunner in jail if he again violates the limited gag order, barring the case participants from personal attacks on court staff. Engeron said in writing ruling that he is way beyond the warning stage, but that he was only fining Trump a nominal amount because it was the first-time violation, and Trump lawyers said that the website retention on the post had been inadvertent. Okay, well, the internet is a complicated place with it's very difficult to internet properly. I would know. I very poorly interneted this morning. If you watch the very beginning of the stream, you'll see that I couldn't figure out how to make text-to-speech work properly. So I understand the idea that if there's something on the website that's talking shit, the judge says get rid of it, it might take some time to take down, but it's been more than enough time. $5,000 is a finger wag. I mean, it's not that much for Trump. I mean, it is kind of a lot for Trump because very quickly Donald Trump is running out of money. And I don't think he has $5,000 to just piss away on nothing. It's fun to see. Do I want Donald Trump thrown in jail for contempt of court? Yeah, that's funny. It is fun to watch. That is content for me. That is something that I get to then talk about. Do I think he will get thrown in jail? Probably not. I don't think he will. I think they'll give him a $10,000 fine if he does it again, and then a $30,000 fine. Something it'll just ramp up and up and up and up. And you're right, Shinsinto, he will send out an email asking for support, and his cult will pay for it. But at some point, even they run out of money. I mean, he's already way down there in the money department, and he's not gonna have any more if he's found guilty and responsible for the misappropriation of his funds and his real estate assets. That's where he's getting a lot of his money, is that he takes out a loan against the property and then pays it back sometimes, or he goes bankrupt and doesn't pay it back. He's playing a very complicated and dangerous money shell game, and the court just hit him a little bit. Just give him a little slap. And maybe those little slaps will continue. Maybe all those little slaps will add up. Those little bits, those little fines could hurt him in the long run. Make no mistake, future violations, whether intentional or unintentional, will subject the violator to far more severe sanctions, which may include steeper financial penalties, holding Donald Trump in contempt of court, and possibly imprisoning him. So, yeah, it's a possibility. The best way to get Donald Trump to do a thing is tell him not to. He's almost like a teenager in that way. The best way to get your kids to do a thing is tell them not to do it, and he's very similar to that. Trump lawyer Christopher Keese earlier blamed the very large machine of Trump's White House campaign for allowing the post to remain on the website after Trump had deleted it from social media as ordered, calling it an unintentional oversight. It was removed from the website late Thursday after Engeron flagged it to Trump's lawyers. So he said, we're too big to operate. But what I think, they're too broke to operate. They're too small to operate the larger picture. A good place to skim and save some money is fire your website developers. So they probably don't have any, or they have so much social media that they don't have people coordinating it. They're just throwing shit out there, and they didn't know who put it up there weeks ago, and they didn't know how to take it down. So I don't think it's a very large machine problem. I think it's a very few operators problem. In the current overheated climate, incendiary comments can, and in some cases, already led to serious physical harm and worse. I will not allow the defendants to explain why this blatant violation of the gag order would not result in serious sanctions, including financial sanctions and possibly imprisoning him. There is more. Oh my God, you guys. Oh my God. The Kraken has been released. Turned the wrong way. Trump attorney Sidney Powell, aka the Kraken Lady, pleads guilty in Georgia election subversion case. So, this is a big deal. This is a very big deal. Let's see what she pled guilty to. Attorney Sidney Powell has pled guilty in the Georgia election subversion case 1 day before her trial was set to start. As part of her guilty plea, Powell has admitted her role in the January 2021 breach of election systems in rural Coffee County with the help of local GOP officials. A group of Trump supporters accessed and copied information from the county's election systems in hopes of somehow proving that the election was rigged against Trump. She pled guilty Thursday to 6 misdemeanors, 6 counts of conspiracy to commit intentional interference with the performance of election duties, and significant reduction from 7 felonies she initially faced. 6 counts of conspiracy. This is the important bit. Guys, this is important. 6 counts of conspiracy. There is now judicial, legal proof that a conspiracy existed. If the court has people found guilty of conspiracy, that means that the RICO case is working. And now Donald Trump can't get out of being a member of that conspiracy. I think it's done. I think it's over with. I think once you have been charged with the conspiracy, people under you have been found pled guilty to conspiracy. The conspiracy exists. The conspiracy is real. You have legally proven it to be correct. You have legally proven it to be real. You've proven that it exists and that it is there and that it was happening. This is a big deal. She is going to testify against Trump. She is going to provide any evidence she has. And the conspiracy has been grounded in reality. The conspiracy happened. We conspired illegally to do the things. We have pled guilty to conspiring illegally to do the things. And if Donald Trump doesn't do a plea deal, he will be found guilty. And that's gonna be an explosion. That's gonna be wild, because I think she pled guilty to 6 counts of conspiracy. Absolutely proves that there was a conspiracy. Trump and co-defendant in the Fulton County case does not appear in Powell's plea documents and was not mentioned in the brief plea hearing on Thursday. I think they're saving that for the big bomb. I think they're going to let that out once they put her on the stand, assuming Donald Trump himself doesn't plea deal out, because I think he will. She is the second person in the sprawling racketeering case to plead guilty. Bail bondsman Scott Hall, he was a nobody who's never been on TV, pled guilty, and they move their way up. This is how RICO cases work. You start at the low-level nobodies. You start at the bottom. You start with your Scott Halls, who are not important people. You give them a sweet, sweet deal. Hey, we're going to turn all your felonies into misdemeanors, and we're going to cut the punishment way down. If you say guilty right now, and give us evidence, and testify against the person right above you. Then they give a good deal to the second person for the exact same things, which is what Kraken Lady has gotten now. That's what Powell has gotten. She's gotten not the best deal, but a good one, where she has her felonies turned into lesser crimes. Then those lesser crimes are fines and probation, and she has to testify against the person above her, which is going to be Cheesebro and Donald Trump. Guess what happens? Cheesebro is next. Kenneth Cheesebro, second Trump lawyer, pleads guilty to a conspiracy. Why are they pleading guilty to a conspiracy if the conspiracy isn't real, if there isn't a conspiracy? Former lawyer to Donald Trump who pled guilty in an election subversion case in the U.S. state of Georgia. Cheesebro's plea deal comes a day after another ex-Trump lawyer, Sidney Powell, admitted guilt to the case. A third co-defendant, bail bondsman Scott Hall, Cheesebro, pled guilty to a single felony count of conspiracy. Conspiracy! There it is again. That's the third person. They've now got 3 people saying, yes, there's a conspiracy. It's over for Trump. It is. There's no way he can dodge this. There's no way he's getting out of it. His deal with prosecutors on Friday came as a jury selection began in the case. The trial will no longer go forward. Under the plea deals, the former defendants will have to testify under oath in forthcoming trials. That's also important. They are going to be dropping the dime on him. His guilty plea can be seen as a victory for Fulton County prosecutor as they continue to build their case against Donald Trump. Exactly. They are laying the groundwork. They've got a very solid foundation. And that solid foundation will be built up again and again. And at the top of this foundation will be Donald Trump on trial. It's going to be difficult because what they're going to have is the very good groundwork of all these people saying, yeah, there was a conspiracy, I'm guilty of it, and then the next person says it, and the next person up, and the next person up, and the next person up, and then we're at the top. What we get to is Donald Trump, the ringleader. Everyone's saying he's the ringleader. Does he get a plea deal at that point? If he's smart and he had smart lawyers, he would. He would say, okay, yes, we did the things, lower my sentence, I'll say guilty, we'll be done with this and we'll move on, and I'll get to continue to run for president even though I'm under probation and shit like that. And then they'll drag that probation hearing out, and if he violates the probation, he uses a little bit of money and pays the court and shit. If he was smart, that's what he would do. He's not smart. He's very, very stubborn. He's very, very surrounded by yes men who tell him exactly what he wants to hear. And that is why they may not offer him the plea deal, because they want to hurt him in court. They want to bring him down. They want to be historical. Lawyers love being historical. Okay? Lawyers love their name living on in infamy. They love the idea that their name will be taught 50 years from now in a law school textbook. That is what all lawyers want. That's what all streamers want too. It's what everybody wants. Immortality of your epic deeds. The lawyers may not give him the option for a plea deal because he will be the last domino to fall. Why would they give him a plea deal? But they might be pushed to do so by politics, because he is actually a very famous and rich person and a very important person, and used to be the president. And there might be a lot of violence once that day comes. Once the actual court trial for this comes, once he is showing up every day in court, there will be protests, especially if he whips his MAGA crowd into a frenzy, and they may do violent, dangerous things, which will lead the court to speed the process up, skim the process down, and hopefully get him done and processed before too long. Even if he takes the plea deal, he can be removed from ballots in states under the 14th Amendment. Yeah, Colorado is running that test right now. Colorado is trying to determine whether or not the 14th Amendment applies to the insurrection that he did on Jan 6th. Now, there are people who say that the things he did on Jan 6th prevent him from ever running again. There are other people who say no, that doesn't matter, and it wasn't an insurrection, and there is no evidence. Even if he's found guilty of this conspiracy, there are still states that will have him on the ballot. There are. But you only need to knock him off at 2 or 3 before it really gets fucking nuts. I mean, imagine a scenario there for a minute. The court of Colorado has said he did an insurrection on January 6th. He's been found guilty in this conspiracy thing. We will not put him on our ballot. We won't allow it. What happens in society? What happens in the world if he's not allowed to be on that ballot? Obviously, he gets a lot fewer votes, and people riot. I think the MAGAs actually do start a civil war over that. I think the right-wing grifters, the Ted Cruzes, the Ben Shapiros, the Ben Crowder, I think Ben Crowder, no, his name is something Crowder. I don't remember his name. The Crowders, the right-wing grifters, Beanie Guy. What's the Beanie Guy's name? I don't remember the Beanie Guy's name either. Tim Pool. Yeah, there he is. So I think they all absolutely push civil war. They push civil war as an absolute fact. They're going to get on the screen and they're going to say it. And they're going to say, this is the civil war. This is it. This is what we've been telling you about. They have kicked Donald Trump off the ballot illegally, and you're not allowed to vote anymore. Those damn dirty liberals, those filthy libtards have taken your vote away. You're not allowed to vote for God, King, Emperor Trump anymore. And they're going to say it. And it's going to rile people up. Yeah, the stolen election, yeah, you're right, KBP, the stolen election conspiracy was big. But the bigger one is all those liberals who took Donald Trump off the ballot. But it will be actual, it will real, it will be literally legal for them to do so. They will have followed all the laws. But because the law doesn't turn out the way where the Republicans want, it's an illegal law. The Law and Order Party just means we get what we want, when we want it, how we feel like. It doesn't have anything to do with the laws as they're written. No. The Law and Order Party follows Donald Trump, who breaks the law constantly. Because it's not about the laws as written. It's not about doing things in a constitutional way. It's about what we want and how we feel. I got a lot of pushback on YouTube when I put out that little short that said, common sense from conservatives is just how they feel at the moment. I went into the doobly-doos, the comments, and it's just a lot of people telling me how they feel and telling me that that's a fact. Their feelings are facts. But for liberals, our feelings are disregarded. And that is the world you get to live in. That's the world we get to live in. It's great. Oh, hi. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. If you liked what you saw, hit the like button, press the subscribe button. If you want to tell me how right I am, feel free to leave a comment. If you want to tell me how wrong I am, leave a comment too. That's good. This is just kind of a hobby for me, so I appreciate you coming by, giving it a watch, and pressing the YouTube buttons. Thanks.